Hello, everyone. This is Jim Ransom with another edition of MJP, aka Morning Jim Poetry. Today's program will feature some poems written by an old friend and mentor of mine, Eric McHenry, who was and I think still is on the faculty of Washburn University. And then this is the book he's written that I have to rely on for the poems today. It's called Odd Evening. And then some poems by a gal I have never met. She lives in Kansas also, and thus you begin to realize that today is a Kansas day, not the right time of year for the real Kansas Day. But it is the day I'm choosing to read some work by, you guessed it, Kansas poets. And here's the second one, Blue Collar Saint by Brenda Lee White. First of all, we're going to start off with a few poems by one of my favorites. As I mentioned, Eric McHenry, and I've got several markers in here. Can I find them? I hope so. This is number 4 in a line of poems that he has written called 16 Sweet, and these are otherwise untitled. He's taking after Emily Dickinson, I guess, in that respect. But here it is. You didn't find the sugar maples turning all that dramatic. And you didn't find the purple 37 in the square of pastel dots because it wasn't there. You may have chosen not to finish learning. You were profoundly red-green colorblind until you were 16 and didn't care, because by then believing wasn't seeing, and every non-experience was true to your experience of experience being available to everyone but you. But you experienced those leaves, those days, as atmosphere. You raked them into piles and to the cul-de-sac to supervise, and watched the cinders climb into the haze that overhung the city's 4 square miles. And that was how they finally met your eyes. And now, and years from now, the tang and sting of maple leaf smoke on November air, or in your clothes, or in the clothes or hair of someone passing, will retrieve a pang so imprecise it's briefly everything. That's quite a good poem. I do like it a great deal. So let's move on to one of his sonnets. This one is called You're Back. And here it is. You're Back by Eric McHenry. You went away, and they went on without you. When you reappeared with kids and an ironic beard, the ticket carousel was full. They'd finally stopped taking orders from east of Dougal and redrawn the map's eccentric ballpoint borders. The dough hook dervished in its bowl. Home is where your references aren't recognized or needed. When you have to go back, they have to clock you in. The only other differences were little changes to the menu. Nobody asked where you'd been. It's very cleverly done. You're back. Somebody goes away to college, let's say, and then they come back home, and they went on without you. And then when you did come home, nobody asked where you'd been. I suspect that's a familiar situation for a lot of people. Now let's move on to another one of Eric's poems. This one is called Add Dylan Klebold as a Friend. And it's marked 2009, when he wrote this. Dude, did you hear the Spirit Squad like pimped the DoubleTree for our 10-year reunion? God, how tragic will that be? I thought about you in '01 and what you would have said when they came out with Halo 1. We all knew Doom was dead. Dude, what the F is up with your profile pic? Oh, well, I guess we're stuck with who we were in high school. LOL. Lots of luck. So, this poem is like two guys meeting after being out of school a while. Pimp the DoubleTree in the first stanza refers to the DoubleTree Hotel in Kansas City. And pimped just means the Spirit Squad from high school was able to get that hotel to take the reunion, and on and on. So it's sort of in the lingo of that day, and it ends appropriately with, I guess we're stuck with who we were in high school. Lots of luck. Okay. I think next we'll turn to this other book of poems, and it's called Blue Collar Saint by Brenda Lee White. Showed this earlier, and this young woman, I think she does quite a good job. This is a somewhat longer poem than I usually read, but I think it's highly appropriate in an election year, perhaps. It's called The White House. My father, the retired machinist, has decided to run for president. If elected, he won't wear neckties and will leave his shirt unbuttoned at the collar. He plans to keep Sarah Huckabee Sanders as his press secretary. She will explain the president does not intend to choke. And as for his lack of ties, he wants all males in his presence to suffer no feelings of inadequacy when they discover in which direction neckties point. There will be a flat tax for everyone, no deductions, and all individuals, including corporations, will pay their full amount cash. No IOUs, no handshakes or payment plans. State dinners will consist of large steaks, rare. Baked potatoes, asparagus, and broccoli, perhaps the occasional pork roast. Dessert will be Oreos and milk, or Diet Coke. Ms. Sanders says the president fully supports cattlemen, meatpacking plants, and Idaho. Should Vladimir Putin declare war on the U.S., the president will say, I hope you brought your lunch. Ms. Sanders doesn't bat an eye, blink, or cough Our president remains firm with enemies of the state. His policy is always transparency. There will be a resumption of public floggings for politicians who lie, provided their actions have severely vexed the commander-in-chief. He will spank them, televised live, with his own belt, as he tells them, "It hurts me more than you." Unfortunately, flatulence may be prevalent during presidential addresses. Ms. Sanders will respond that the president has bad gut feelings about most issues, and cushioned mats will be provided for press members close to the podium. All other journalists will be blamed for further excessive intestinal emissions and advised by Ms. Sanders to use Beano. Clearly, the president remains in office and knows that the press remains a danger to the public and an enemy to common decency, to which the president will reply, "Pull my finger." Ask about his platform, my father of our country will say, "I want it made of wood." I will advise him as first daughter that he must rescind the tariffs of his predecessor. His girth will require steel for total support. All terrorists must die, the president avers. That's tariffs, Dad, I correct. Miss Sanders will announce in her next release, the president does have some hearing challenges. Please, everyone, look him in the face and enunciate. We appreciate your cooperation. As tools have been known to fly in the machine shop, my father's incumbency may include occasional projectiles, ink pens, wadded up accords, podiums, perhaps congresspersons. Should anything be broken during these exertions, he will turn to my mother and Miss Sanders, warning through gritted teeth, "Don't say a word, not one word." Despite his few foibles, as leader of our nation, my father will enhance White House security. In the personage of the First Lady, they will be late to every presidential engagement, as my mother will insist on double and triple checks that ensure the windows and doors are locked, the stove burners are all off, the toaster is unplugged, and the cat is not locked in a bathroom. As for myself, I intend to spend the totality of my father's term in the White House broom closet, equipped with a hot tub and large screen TV. I will remain with my dog and several cats, drinking margaritas and eating chocolate until it is safe to return to the remnants of our former lives. That's the White House. And just remember, the poems are by Brenda Lee White. Okay. Now we're going to read one more poem by her, and it's called Beauty Queen Never. Beauty Queen Never. If I can find it here. And so far I haven't found it, but I will. Give me a moment longer. Ah, yes. This poem is written in an interesting form. Right under the title of Beauty Queen Never is the outline of a crown. And if you look carefully at the layout of the poem itself, it's sort of an outline or shadow of a person, isn't it? A head, a middle, a waist, and hips and legs. Let's see what comes of that. I am in a beauty pageant and have made it to the questions round. The Vaseline on my teeth helps me smile, despite my dry mouth. The lights above me are blinding. If this part of the contest doesn't end soon, my bouffant hair will fall flat. I remember to keep my ankles crossed, but this hot pink sequined evening gown itches. Most of my concentration is on not scratching delicate places on national TV. Thank God my false eyelashes are staying put. The twiggy girl next to me has quit talking, followed by applause. The MC turns to me and says, "Miss Kansas, blah, 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 blah. What would you do?" Glossed smile frozen. I smile bigger and say, "Well, I would do anything in a situation that promotes world peace." Inside, I'm thinking, almost loud enough to be heard, the first thing I am going to do when I get off this stage is losing this damn pair of pantyhose. Well, beauty queen never. This young lady tells it like it is. That's it for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed these varied selections by two Kansas poets. Tune in again in 2 weeks for another session. Or maybe in a week. We'll see what happens. Meanwhile, let's all keep reading poems. Bye now.